All right, I haven't made a video in a while. It's been really busy, kind of just personal busy, and this spring has been really bad. It's been just cold and wet, and I mean, I actually clipped the tops off of this already, but I've got standing water still in parts of my field. I can't get my cows out on them yet because I don't want them to mess it all up. And then I have a manure pile that's just excessive, and so I think what I'm gonna do today is just spread back some of this stuff. This is pretty light, like, because I got yard clippings now mixed in with everything, and I'll put it on this field. I was gonna put the cows out here, but this field has a lot of standing water in it, and my north field out there is actually in better shape, but it's still not ready. So either way, I got time before I put the cows on it. Two of my cows ended up getting butchered a while back. I've got pigs now. So I finally found some pigs. Got 4 little guys. Got chicken coop. They've got a little access to get outside there. And then 2 ducks, because someone in the family they don't do well with chicken eggs, like slight allergy, and so duck eggs are okay. So we got some ducks. Ducks are crazy, by the way. The person I got them from, they were already laying, and so they didn't get handled much, and they don't really like people. The chickens are actually okay because they got handled a bunch by all the kids when they were babies. They haven't started laying yet. I guess thinking maybe September they'll start. I guess I built all this out of kind of scrap and stuff, and then I got the chicken wire. I got gloves on because I'm about to grease the manure spreader before I start. But I built this nesting box just so you can open it and collect the eggs. The ducks do not go into the nesting boxes. They actually nest on the ground, and they'll kind of cover their eggs up, and so they're usually underneath the bottom part of the ramp, or lately they've been right over in that corner. And then they can, let's see if it'll focus here. Obviously I got an outside coop area. Maybe I'll try to show you that. Anyway, pigs. I think I went over this before, but just in case you don't know, I have a water nipple here so they can drink. They will still make a mess in it because they like to just, I mean, I don't know, they're curious, but if you leave like a pail of water, they will mess. You'll be changing water like every day to keep them in clean water. So if you're gonna have pigs, get yourself a little water nipple. And then their food box, I put dividers in, because if you just make a normal trough, they'll actually get in and they'll run this way and they'll root and they'll knock all the food out. So if you put a little divider in, then that keeps them from like scooping the food out with their snouts. And then that's just basically 2 boards kind of made into a V, like that. And then I put this board on the back so they couldn't flip the food out of the back, but it's enough they can get there. And so I have way less food waste doing that, because they just like to root around. I throw a little hay in there, they lay in it, they eat on it, whatever. Pigs are really clean though, so they've been all going to the bathroom in that corner. I blocked off the stalls because they will poop in there and then I have to shovel it into this alleyway. And so right now when I want to clean this, super easy. That gate is just kind of sitting there, so I can just pop that up on top of my cow stalls and it rests right up there. And then I shoo the pigs into that area, swing this gate closed to keep them in there. And then that gives my tractor access to this when I want to clean it out. This gate swings over that way. This is a new gate because cows like to lean on things and break them. And so then this can swing out there. It's been so late. I was gonna get extra cows, which is why I have extra hay last winter, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't because I'm still feeding hay and it's June. This was completely mucked up, so I hulked a bunch of it out there, and I'm gonna spread that out eventually. And so I have a bunch of gravel behind the barn that I'm gonna, this summer when it dries out, I'm gonna scrape the loose stuff off of this, coat it with some nice gravel, pack it down, and hopefully that'll create a nice slope, and I'll have water, it'll run off a lot better. I did open this area up to the cows so they would have, it's kind of like a, I have my like inner corral, then this is like my outer corral where my fields feed into. So it's like a little bit of space. But I ended up getting 4 little Herefords. Just was tight market for other cows, and I got a decent price on these, so we'll do that. There's so Hank and Ocho, they're getting butchered in 9 days, but they're looking good. And then I got, so these 4 guys, they're all really nice except for there's one, where is he? He's getting a little bit more tame. I've been feeding grain to him. Yeah, this guy hiding with that number 8 tag, I'm calling him Crazy 8 because he's gonna be the one that runs through fences, if there is one. Anyway, you can see how wet it is. I have standing water in here. The cows are just destroying this, which is why I don't want to let them out on my fields, because when you start getting stuff like this, especially in high traffic areas, that's really bad. It makes it rough to get over with a tractor. And see, how am I gonna get out here with my, without getting shocked by the fence? I don't want to unplug it. Okay, if I die, everybody call 911. You can see that. This is obviously the backside of what I just kind of showed you. Canary grass, which not great feed value when it gets tall. When it's short, it actually isn't too bad from what I gather. But what do I know? Anyway, so I got in there. I didn't get stuck or anything and clipped it down just because it doesn't need to be 6 feet tall. But look at all this. I can't get them out here because I can feel the ground is still wet. But I got seed heads on like a lot of this stuff. And then when the head's out, the nutrition's gone. Or what's the saying? Anyway, you don't want the grass to get this tall because you get stemmy type stuff, and what you want is like the tops of that, which is way better than stemmy bottoms. Anyway, I got good clover in here. Hopefully not so much it's gonna make them sick. But I'll let them out in this field first, and hopefully in another week. I mean, if we get some nice weather, like this will dry up. This was all like dirt because we had a bit of a flood. And I came out here when I thought we were done with the groundwater, and I reseeded. I just went out here and hand cast a bunch of pasture mix, and it's coming in really nice. I don't want to let the cows out on this. They'll turn it into mud, and then there goes all my effort. So I need to wait until I can get them out, which is hard for me because I want to not have to feed every day, twice a day. When you have 6 cows, I'm gonna go put this, always finding chunks of stuff in the field. Anyway, when you're feeding 6 cows a day, they eat a lot. I'm feeding my current rate, round bill about every 4 days, 5 days. And the bales that I have are, what is this? It's like dogs or coyotes running through here maybe? Huh. That wouldn't surprise me. They're like making little trails or something. Anyway, so if we can get some drier weather, look at this, maybe it's just all blowing down from wind and stuff like that. And then the other thing is it's laying on my fences. So I might see if I can take my brush mower and just make a pass around the inside lap here. So that way I can keep the grass off my fences. And the other thing it does is it helps to cue the cows into the fences, sort of like a baseball warning track. All right, how do I get back out of here? I guess the same thing. Hang on, we'll pick this up in a minute. All right, I got it running. Just greased it all. Moved up the chains. Making sure everything's working. Obviously, if you watched my last video on this restoration, I did it once, one test run, or a few light loads with yard clippings. Hopefully that stuff's pretty light, so if there's any issues, I'll know about it. I did have one issue with this, not staying where I wanted, and this is what controls the drive, the apron chain, to keep pushing. And so I found out what speed I wanted it, and I just ran a bolt through it because I really don't see myself adjusting this. This one here just controls whether or not it's in gear, and I have the control on my PTO, so if I run the PTO, everything's going. Everything looks like it's running good, so. All right, so I have found that the best way to get my speed about what I want is put the tractor in low, and with my RPMs at about 2100, I'm getting the manure spreader to have a decent fling without throwing it back to me, which is obviously if I had like a drop gate or something that would come down, maybe keep some of that off, but whatever, it is what it is. All right, so slingshot activate. So there we go. basically make it there, kind of like bit around. But fortunately I have a lot of manure. Okay, I got done watching the videos that I made, and I'm not very good at editing, so I realized that I was completely ADD in that video. There was a couple things I left out, like mid-sentence, because I got distracted. I guess the first thing is there's an outside chicken coop so they can go and scratch and peck outside if they want. I didn't show you that. And then got talking about the cows going through hay, and I was talking about the round bales. The bales that I've got right now are, I think they were intended to be haylage, but it was super hot last summer, and so when they were baled, they were pretty much dry hay. I'm not finding a whole lot of, in pretty much every bale I've opened, I mean, you can see that it kind of wanted to turn, but it's not really haylage. And I mean, I smell it, and haylage has kind of a sweet smell. But anyways, so they're all pretty much dry, and you know, when I pitch it in here, it fluffs up, and it's pretty dry, so it doesn't spoil too bad. But these bales are packed super tight, and they are really difficult for my tractor to handle without a ballast block, and even then with the ballast block, they're still super heavy. And I would probably put these in about the 1,400 pound range. They're right at the limit of what my tractor could do, and even they're probably a little heavier than I should. So this year I want to try to get back to my dry rounds, 700 pound range. Yeah, so if I do that, I'm gonna need about 25 bales, and I hope I can get it this year because it's already into June and no one has their first cutting done. So what happened last year is it was so dry, everyone missed their last cutting of hay, and so there was a little bit of a shortage. Well, now this year, compounded on that, is everyone didn't get their last cutting in, and now they're not getting their first cutting in. So normally people will be getting their second cutting around 4th of July, and people will be, I mean, I'm looking at the weather forecast here, and it's still showing rain, you know, for the entire next week. So people aren't gonna get hay down. You need a good week without rain to get it dry hay. And I just don't think it's gonna happen for a lot of people. So you're missing your first cutting. Basically, you're getting your first cutting when you would have got your second cutting. And so that's gonna make hay really, really hard to come by, which is gonna make it really expensive, which is gonna make the end cost more expensive. If you go look at I did a video breakdown on all the costs and stuff like that. And I mean, when you start paying, you know, instead of 40 bucks a round bale, now you're paying 60 or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty bad. So these guys are eating good. I do need to work on getting them a little bit, I think, more protein in their feed. So my daughter wants to, and her friend, they want to do the 4-H and show them. And when I got these, just with the weight that I think they are and my average daily gain on what I got right now, which is just a hog 16, so 16% protein, I'm gonna bump it up. And I'll be feeding some higher quality feed, but I'll give it to all of them, obviously, and then we'll just pick the biggest two to take. So the other two will get butchered at the end of September, and then two will go and get auctioned off at the fair, which is in August. So hopefully I can keep pushing the feed to them. Some people are saying, hey, you know, mix a milk replacer with their feed. It makes it go for them better. Mixing eggs too. So if I start getting into some eggs, you know, I'll mix those in there too. But I think just the like either milk replacer or someone said just, you know, see if a dairy has some like old milk that they can give you or something like that. So those are kind of my options that I want to explore to help put some weight on these pigs. I got the tractor cleaned up. It's pretty dirty. And the manure spreader, it worked great. There's a few clips in there, but I pressure washed it all and it started raining really bad. What I'll do is I'll take a fruit sprayer and I'll just mist this all with some used motor oil, and that'll soak into the wood and that'll keep it from rotting, and it'll help the metal as well. Just, I think I touched on it, but that manure just, if you don't keep something clean that has manure on it, you're gonna get rust because it just eats it away. It's really, really corrosive. Example, I use this bucket and I don't clean it out during the winter too often, like hosing it off, and it just eats the manure just eats the paint right off of that stuff. So even to the point where it's like there's a little bit of pitting going on, which is, I mean, I guess whatever, eventually you get a new bucket or something like that. But if you keep it clean, then it doesn't give it a chance to do that. I don't have the time or the patience to hose it off every single time I clean the barn out. Hopefully that kind of takes care of all the questions. I think I still can't get my cows out. We had huge rain the other day, so now I got even more water. I do have my dust bag, so that kind of helps with the flies, mites, things like that. And then once I get rid of the 2 big cows, then I'm gonna pour all the small cows for lice and stuff like that. That should get them through the summer. So I usually will try to do a pour before I turn them out in the spring, and then before I bring them back in the fall. The big ones are getting butchered, so you can't pour those so many days before they get butchered. And then I don't have a squeeze chute, so I just lock these and they'll lock themselves in there. And so I have to basically just turn that to lock and then lure them in with some grain or something like that. So once I get them all locked in there, then I'll do the pour, and they get real skittish. I had a big one, the big black one, it ended up slipping and it couldn't get its feet. So it was strangling itself down at the bottom of that. And it makes me real nervous to like pour big cows in here because they can't get back up once they fall down in certain situations, especially if their head's held up. Because of the way they get up. So it was touch and go. I thought the cow was gonna die. So squeeze chute maybe on the agenda, but I don't need it too often. So I kind of been just trying to go without. Anyway, try to get you some more videos as things go, you know, progress this summer and stuff, and cue you in on what I'm doing. Thanks.